talking about Classic Who. I don't have a lot of Classic Doctor Who, but I do have like 3 different sets. I've got The Beginning, Revisitations 1, Revisitations 2. That's what I've got. So I have seen all of these, but the ones that I like to go back to and the ones that Resurrection of the Daleks is terrible. I have tried to watch it again, being like, it's got Davros in it. That's great, right? Davros is great. I was thinking, Peter Davison's good as the Doctor. I think every incarnation of the Doctor has been great, but Resurrection of the Daleks, the acting is pretty bad, and it's kind of a goofy show. I've been like, why is it so goofy? The End of the World, Patrick Troughton plays the bad guy and the Doctor. I do like the Patrick Troughton era, but I think I like the Seeds of Death better, because it's got the Ice Warriors in it, and it's got the whole T-Mat thing going on, and you don't see him for most of it, but it's pretty good. One I've only seen once is Carnival of Monsters. Oh, hang on, I keep forgetting it, probably because you don't see the Doctor so much, but it's the one where it's like a fake. You think it's actually real life on Earth in a ship and they're on a cruise, but it's not real, it's inside a show. That whole thing. The Doctor Who movie with Paul McGann. Paul McGann's great as a Doctor, but I just do not like the whole thing at all. It's pretty bad. I have one Tom Baker episode, or one Tom Baker story, and it's The Talons of Weng-Chiang, and I don't like it very much. You get to the end of it and it's alright. There's not a lot of good going for it. It's just sort of like, it's Victorian London, it's kind of the most boring era to visit. The Caves of Androzani, I have seen it before, but I don't know why I haven't gone back and watched it. There's something about it that I don't like. I remember the bad guy being like particularly menacing, and I thought that was cool. And I like how Peter Davison regenerates into Colin Baker. I thought that was cool. Then you've got the William Hartnell stuff, where it's got the first three stories: Unearthly Child, The Daleks, and The Edge of Destruction. The Daleks is my favourite because it's got the Daleks in it for the first time, but it's also got the first Doctor, and you see him in action in a really serious situation for the first time. From those few stories is that the William Hartnell Doctor would get worn down, and then he wouldn't be able to do the saving the day sort of thing, so he'd have to use his brains. Apart from all those, I've seen The Two Doctors, which is a Colin Baker story, which has got Patrick Troughton in it as well. And I borrowed it from a video store to watch it, and I thought it was pretty cool. I liked it a lot. It's got the Sontaran in it, where Doctor Who was a lot more action-packed, and the Doctor is kind of more violent in the classic era. In modern Who, he's not so violent, but he sort of was with Christopher Eccleston, so it was sort of interesting to see different ways of approaching things. But The Two Doctors was a very good episode, very good story. Seeing Colin Baker as the Doctor, he was such a great version of the Doctor, and he got screwed over by the BBC, and that's why he chose not to show up to his regeneration, because it was like, you either get one story or you're fired. So yeah, that's Classic Who for you. I do want to watch more Classic Who. I think The 10th Planet is one I definitely want to watch. Obviously got the Cybermen in it, and it's got the first regeneration, and that whole build-up is something that I'd love to see. See the first Doctor with different companions, see all of the Doctors with different companions. Patrick Troughton had a bunch, William Hartnell had a bunch. So the Carnival of Monsters, the John Pertwee story, has Joe. John Pertwee also worked with Sarah Jane, and that was who he had when he regenerated. And he had a couple of other companions, and that stuff's great to see. I do like the big sort of family of having lots of different people in the TARDIS. That stuff's good. So I probably want to watch a story with Tom Baker, and there's a bit of that in Resurrection of the Daleks with a whole bunch of different people. The Caves of Androzani has Perry, and Perry's alright. Although I do like her asking him why he's got the celery, and it's like a poison detector or something like that. And I thought that was cool. So maybe I should watch that one again. Classic Who had terrible continuity. There's a Peter Davison bit where they have K9 accessing the TARDIS records, and the way I always understood it from Unearthly Child is that the TARDIS is the name of the TARDIS is not what the Time Lords called it, but it's what they called it. Susan says that she called it TARDIS after the initials, time and relative dimensions in space. 20 years later, that's gone. TARDIS is the official name of it because it's kind of, by that point, Doctor Who had got really goofy, and it's just like, this is what the public call it, so this is what they're going to call it in the show as well. It's just like you just kind of threw that away, didn't you? I wish there was a lot more involvement between Classic Who people and New Who people, and there is with the, I think it's the Centenary special. It's going to have it's going to have Ace, and it's going to have, I don't know who it is, but I think it's Joe, but I'm not sure, from Classic Who, in with Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, and I think that's just going to be great to see, because I love seeing those older actors come back and be in the show again. And the Jodie Whittaker era is a very unique era. The way that the production of the show is very different. I just like bringing the Classic Who stuff back. And so I like it when they take old monsters and they bring them back, like they did with the Ice Warriors in a Peter Capaldi episode with the Ice Empress or something like that. I thought that was cool because it was like, hey, it's a new take on an old thing, and I like that. I do want to watch the first Sontaran episode because I really like the Sontarans. I think they're cool. I think I like their concept. They are all about going to war. All the Sontaran episodes in New Who and then the Sontaran episodes in Old Who, I think would be good to watch. Obviously mentioned the two Doctors with that one Sontaran, but also there's a John Pertwee episode where he encounters the Sontarans for the first time, so that'd be good to see. I wouldn't mind watching the War Games. The Wheel in Space, I think, is the one where they get Zoe. So Zoe and Jamie are both the companions of the Doctor in the Seeds of Death. I like Zoe. I think Zoe's good. I like the idea of her as well. She's from the future. She's intelligent, and having someone like that is cool to watch. But also you got Jamie, who comes from medieval Scotland, where he's wearing a kilt the whole time. I like that. He comes from a modest background, probably is the best way to put it. I want to watch like a Tom Baker episode where it's a bit more action-packed, where he says things like, would you like a jelly baby, and stuff like that. Brains of Morbius, I'd like to watch that one. That's a cool idea. I did watch a bit of the Genesis. I watched the sort of the mashup of Genesis of the Daleks, the Doctor Who YouTube channel put up. And they've done a bunch of that on the Doctor Who YouTube channel, and so I do want to watch those when I get the time. I have listened to some Big Finish stuff as well. I got the Diaries of River Song, where it's got Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy. I thought that was cool. There was one that had the War Master, supposed to be like a Time War thing, and the picture they used was of the Master as the old man at the end of the universe. I didn't think that was right for that to be the Master in the Time War. It'd be good to hear some more of Christopher Eccleston, Tom Baker, maybe a Paul McGann story would be good. There's a bunch of interesting ones though. They've had old actors come back in Big Finish. Big Finish have been doing a great job with bringing all of that together. So that stuff, would be good to experience.